ओके जी, आज का जो हमारा लेक्चर है, हम लोग जो है वो एग्जामिनेशंस पढ़ चुके हैं। अभी हम जो है वो स्लाइड्स वो हम स्टार्ट करेंगे। तो अब अगर फिजिकल क्लासेस होती हैं तो आपको स्लाइड्स जो है वो दिखा भी देंगे। तो अगर फिजिकल क्लासेस नहीं होती तो फिर जो आपको पढ़ाया है उसी को आपने तैयार करना है, ठीक है। तो आज जो हम स्टार्ट करेंगे दैट इज GIT प्रोटोजोआ। Right. So there are several protozoa which infect gastrointestinal tract, right? और उसमें फिर जो है वो डैमेज कॉज करते हैं, ठीक है। तो जो चेंजेस आती हैं वो मैं आपको फीकल एग्जामिनेशन में भी बताया था कि अगर इंटेस्टाइन डैमेज होती है तो फैट की जो है वो माल एब्जॉर्प्शन होगी, ठीक है। और उसके बाद जो है वो म्यूकस भी आएगा, फाउल स्मेलिंग होगी, ठीक है। कलर जो है फीकल सैंपल का वो भी चेंज होगा, ठीक है। तो आज हम जो है वो GIT प्रोटोजोआ वो हम पढ़ेंगे। तो देर आर सेवरल प्रोटोजोआ which reside in gastrointestinal tract, and their multiplication or their attachment inside intestine cause damage to intestine, right? So number one is the Giardia. Number two, Cryptosporidium. Blantidium. Entamoeba. Isospora. So these are some of the important protozoa which infect intestine or gastrointestinal tract, right? And the host of these are humans, mainly humans, right? But they can also infect animals. Screenshot ले लें।
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया।
So first one is the Giardia. Disease names, right? So disease caused by this parasite is known as giardiasis, or it is also known as beaver fever. Final host, right? Those hosts in which they complete sexual reproduction, they complete their final stages, right? They are humans and animals. Intermediate host, they have no intermediate host, right? And their transmission occurs through fecal route. They do not require any intermediate host to transfer into final host, and their transmission is through fecal-oral route. I mean, they are transmitted to final host through contaminated food and water, contaminated with feces having giardial life cycle stages. Their location is location in final host. It is duodenum, and parasite stage, which can be detected in fecal sample, that is trophozoite or cyst stage, right? And the sample required for detection of Giardia is fecal or stool sample, right? तो जो आपका एग्जाम होगा, राइट, तो ये जो मैंने आपको जनरल इंफॉर्मेशन बताई है, तो एग्जाम में इसमें से भी क्वेश्चंस होंगे, ठीक है? फॉर एग्जांपल, राइट नेम ऑफ फाइनल होस्ट ऑफ जियार्डिया, राइट लोकेशन ऑफ जियार्डिया इन फाइनल होस्ट, और which stage of giardia can be detected in fecal sample, right? So ये जो इंफॉर्मेशन मैंने आपको बताई है, इसमें से भी एग्जाम में क्वेश्चंस होंगे। स्क्रीनशॉट लेना है।
और हो गया स्क्रीनशॉट सर।
So if you look into structure of giardia, it is pear shaped, ठीक है? pear shaped होता है, और it is also tear drop shape, right? So inside middle there is a rod like structure known as exostyle, which functions like skeleton, right? It is having 8 flagella or 4 pair of flagella, right? So first one is on the interior side, which is known as anterior flagella, and adjacent to interior flagella, one pair is known as posterior flagella, right? And 2 pair of flagella are present on ventral side. ये जो मैंने आपको बनाई है अभी, this one is the dorsal view, so one pair is present on ventral side, is known as ventral flagella, ventral pair of flagella, right? And one pair is present on extreme posterior side, and it is known as caudal flagella, right? And there are 2 nuclei, right? So this is these points, these characteristics are general morphology of Giardia, right? So there are 2 nuclei on anterior side, right? And one rod-like structure in the middle of trophozoite, it is known as exostyle. There are 4 pairs of flagella or 8 flagella. One pair is present on anterior side, it is known as anterior flagella, and one pair is present adjacent to anterior side, and these are known as posterior flagella. And one pair is present on ventral side, is known as ventral flagella, and one pair is present on extreme posterior position, and this pair is known as caudal flagella. स्क्रीनशॉट लेना है।
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर।
So if we look into ventral side, this one is the ventral view. Right? There is one disc-like structure known as adhesive disc. Right? This one is the ventral view of trophozoite. And on ventral side, there is one disc-like structure, right? This one disc-like structure, and this disc-like structure is used for attachment with villi of intestine, right? So Giardia जो है, it is non-invasive parasite, cells के अंदर invade नहीं करता, non-invasive है, right? But जो adhesive disc है, that is used by this parasite to attach with villi of intestine. राइट तो जब अटैचमेंट होती है विलाई के साथ तो जो अब्जॉर्प्टिव एरिया है अब्जॉर्प्टिव सरफेस है सरफेस फॉर अब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ डिफरेंट न्यूट्रिएंट्स दैट डिक्रीजेस ठीक है तो जब सरफेस अब्जॉर्प्शन सरफेस है वो डिक्रीज होती है तो फिर जो न्यूट्रिएंट्स है उनकी अब्जॉर्प्शन कम हो जाती है एंड जिसकी वजह से दे स्टार्टेड पास आउट थ्रू फीसेस सो जिसमें जो टिपिकल साइन है दैट इज फैट मैल अब्जॉर्प्शन ठीक है फैट की जो अब्जॉर्प्शन है इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर वो कम हो जाती है सो फैट स्टार्ट एक्सक्रीटेड आउट थ्रू फीसेस जिसकी वजह से जो फीसेस हैं उनकी जो स्मेल है दैट विल बी फाउल स्मेलिंग ठीक है और फीकल का जो कलर है फीकल सैंपल का वो भी डार्क कलर हो जाएगा कलर चेंज हो जाएगा सो इफ you are having fecal sample which is having foul smelling and dark colored. So this may indicate that this animal is infected with Giardia. Right? Screenshot ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर.
So important definitions are exostyle. It is also known as axial rod made up of microtubules and it functions like skeleton. Second is the adhesive disc. So disc-like structure present on ventral surface of trophozoite of Giardia which is used for attachment with villi of intestine. Screenshot ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया.
So next one is the Blantidium coli. Also known as B. coli. ठीक है, इकोलाई आपने सुना होगा, बैक्टीरिया है. So this one is known as B. coli, Blantidium coli. And disease caused by this parasite is known as Blantidiasis, also known as ciliary dysentery. Final host are humans and animals. So these two parasites, Giardia and Blantidium, they have wide range of hosts. They are present in wild animals. They are present in domestic animals. They infect humans. So they have wide range of hosts, but particularly they infect domesticated or grazing animals. And transmission is intermediate host नहीं होता. Transmission is fecal route. So they are transmitted through water and food contaminated with feces having life cycle stages of Blantidium or infective stage of Blantidium coli. Location is cecum. And stages which can be identified in fecal sample, they are trophozoite and cyst. And sample needed for identification of these parasites, that is feces and stool sample. ठीक है, स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर.
So outside, opposite to Giardia, and in contrast to Giardia, they are having cilia for movement. Right? Giardia में जो आपने देखा था वहां पे Giardia में flagella थे movement के लिए, but in Blantidium they are having cilia for movement. And there are two nucleus. One is large sized, one is small sized, right? And large sized nucleus is known as macronucleus. And small sized nucleus is known as micronucleus. They are also having mouth-like opening known as cytostome, which help to ingest food particles, right? So this cytostome, it is connected with vacuole known as food vacuoles. And there are some other vacuoles. These are known as contractile vacuoles. These contractile vacuoles, they help to remove excessive water inside cell, right? So they maintain osmoregulation. ठीक है, जो सेल्स के अंदर एक्स्ट्रा वाटर होता है सो दैट सेल जो है वो बर्स्ट ना हो, राइट? सो उसको रिमूव करने के लिए जो यूज होते हैं वैक्यूल्स, दे आर कॉन्ट्रैक्टाइल वैक्यूल्स. दे पंप एक्सेसिव वाटर आउट ऑफ द सेल. स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर.
So important definitions are cytostome. It is mouth-like opening. And movements due to cilia or ciliary movement is used to pull food towards opening. राइट, जो सीलिया होते हैं वो फूड पार्टिकल्स को पुल करते हैं, राइट, टुवर्ड्स साइटोस्टोम. ठीक है. एंड these Brandidium coli, they mostly feed on beneficial bacteria present in intestine. Right, and contractile vacuoles. So these vacuoles maintain osmoregulation, right? They pump excessive water out of cell. स्क्रीनशॉट ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर. Next one is the Entamoeba histolytica.
So disease caused by this parasite is known as amoebic dysentery. Or amoebic liver abscess. Final host are humans and animals. Intermediate host नहीं होते, and their transmission is also through fecal route. Location is large intestine. And stage which can be identified in fecal sample, that is trophozoite, and sample needed for identification of this parasite is fecal or stool sample. Screenshot ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर.
So this parasite release some enzymes, for example, lectin, and proteolytic enzyme, which cause damage to intestinal epithelium. And these parasites, they can also enter in portal system, right? जो epithelium damage होगी वहां से ये जो है parasites वो invade भी करते हैं, and they can enter into portal system. And ingest red blood cells. Right, so on one side, they cause damage in intestine, and on other side, they can enter into portal system and they can ingest red blood cells, right? Screenshot ले लें.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हो गया सर.
ठीक. So these parasites, they don't have cilia and flagella like Giardia and Plantidium, but they are having pseudopodia, bud-like structure, which is known as pseudopodium for movement. right? And inside they are having nucleus. And some food vacuoles. Right? And inside they may have ingested red blood cells. This screenshot ले लें.
सर हो गया स्क्रीनशॉट सर.
ओके जी, आज के लिए इतना ही. क्वेश्चंस है तो पूछना है, नहीं क्वेश्चंस?
नो सर नहीं कुछ.